This is Faculty Focus from Fairleigh Dickinson University. In this episode, we feature Dr. Jamie Zibulsky, Assistant Professor of Psychology in University College and Associate Director of School Psychology Training. Her primary area of expertise is early reading development. She's recently published a guide for parents entitled Book Smart: How to Develop and Support a Successful, Motivated Reader.
Children are never too young to begin thinking about reading development, as long as you're doing it in a way that feels really fun-loving and playful and developmentally appropriate, which means a lot of conversation, a lot of joking, a lot of cuddle time, and not necessarily looking at the letters on the page, but talking about the meaning of words. Technology can be really helpful in a wide variety of circumstances, and it can also be harmful in a wide variety of circumstances. And the way that we can really see technology as a tool is when it's used as a supplement to other activities that families are engaging in, when it doesn't displace reading time. The other way it can be helpful is when it's used with supervision. So when a parent is sitting down with a child and watching Dora the Explorer or Super Y, or using an app on the iPhone and able to ask questions that push the child's thinking, help them understand something in a new way, still define a new vocabulary word. When it can be harmful is when it's really replacing reading time, when instead of engaging in an activity together, a child is engaging in a solitary activity. One of the mistakes that parents can make when reading with their children is really conveying the message to their child that reading is a chore, that it's a task that they need to engage in, rather than thinking of reading as a really pleasurable activity, a fun time for a child to sit on a parent's lap, to giggle, to talk about the day. And parents tend to think about reading as something that should happen right before bedtime, which for some children is fantastic and really does help them calm down and lets them bond. But for other children can be a message that reading is boring, that reading is something that's meant to put you to sleep, quite literally. And the other thing that parents do in a very well-intentioned way is to make reading time really structured. So when a child sees a picture that's really engaging to them and has a question or has a memory, a parent might shush them and say, I need to get to the next page. We're reading a book now. Let's talk about this later, rather than letting the child really actively engage in the reading process and talk about their own connections to the text. In a study that I did a few years ago, I looked at children who are coming into a preschool year and tracked their reading development and then their behavior development over the course of that preschool year and then through the end of their kindergarten year. And the reason I did this is because there's a lot of theories about which comes first, problems in reading or problems in behavior. And there is more often a belief that behavior problems precipitate reading problems. But what I found over the course of this study was actually that children's reading skills at the beginning of preschool predicted their behavior problems at the end of kindergarten, even when we controlled for their behavior at the beginning of preschool. And what's really important about this is the idea that even at preschool, even in a 4-year-old, those early literacy skills are driving a child's academic trajectory and have an impact not only on their scholastic skills, but often on their behavior. I think a really important message for parents to get is that you are building language and literacy skills throughout the day, and that working on reading together isn't something that just happens when you have a book in front of you. You can work on building oral language skills that support reading development in the grocery store, in the car, while you're out and about throughout the day.